I've been in a gaming rut for over a year. I still loved browsing for new games, buying them, even daydreaming about finally tackling my backlog. But when the time came to actually play something, I couldn't bring myself to click the play button. Every game felt like a commitment I couldn't keep. On the rare occasion I did start something, I take a 2-week break halfway through, feel too much pressure to come back and finish it, and eventually just never return. But then on April 1st, something shifted. Out of nowhere, I felt this spark, the urge to actually play games again. I opened my Steam library, quickly picked 5 short games I've been meaning to get to for years, and hit download. That night, I played the first game, then the second, and something clicked. What if I tried finishing 30 games in 30 days? It sounded ridiculous, like something that would just shove me right back into burnout, but I was excited, really excited to play games again, so I decided to try. Let's go back to day 1. I didn't even know I'd be making this video yet. I just started playing before I forget. A narrative game that seemed exactly my kind of thing. Unfortunately, it ended up feeling pretty cliché. The way it used color was nice, but I expected a bit more from the art direction for a short indie game like this. It only took me about an hour to finish, and while I didn't love it, it left me wanting to play more. Soon it was past midnight, which meant new day, new game. Day 2. Having that little backlog of short games ready helped so much. No analysis paralysis, no second guessing. I jumped into Bad Ant Theater, a game that proudly tells you upfront all the endings are bad. I honestly think this game is pure genius. The developer has created something truly unique. It's a perfect blend of visual novel storytelling and clever puzzle mechanics, and the way those two genres are combined feels so fresh and satisfying. Figuring out all the endings was like solving a big emotional puzzle, and when I finally rolled the credits, I felt genuinely rewarded. Not just for the effort, but it also left me emotionally satisfied. My total playtime was around 1 hour 45 minutes. Day 3. I finally played a game I bought at launch back in 2015. Yeah, it sat in my backlog for nearly 10 years. That should tell you a lot about the situation of my backlog. Submerged is a post-apocalyptic game where you're trying to save your injured brother, but strangely there's zero combat. Even though the gameplay loop is based around climbing, you can't fall, and even though it's a post-apocalyptic world, nothing can hurt you. On paper, that sounds relaxing, and I usually love cozy games. But here, something felt a little off. The platforming was incredibly repetitive, the controls were janky, and the world didn't feel alive. That said, it was nice to finally check it off the list. It took me about 3.5 hours to finish. Day 4. This was the first day I started to question if this whole challenge was a really bad idea and if I was just setting myself up for burnout. It's the first game I've played in these few days that made me really want to quit. At first, I was totally in love with Far Changing Tides. The first hour was great, but by hour 3, I was close to uninstalling it. This is definitely a game for patient gamers. Everything takes so much time. The puzzles were simple enough, but there were moments when I missed something, like a button to press, and I ended up backtracking 10 times, only to realize the solution was right in front of me. It's been 5 years since I played the first game, so I forgot how much it relied on fuel management. At first, I didn't bother collecting everything and burned through fuel until I got stranded underwater with no wind and no fuel in sight. That forced me to reload an earlier save, which was the point that made me want to stop playing. I wish the game focused more on the narrative, like where we're going, why, and the puzzles, instead of leaning so heavily on resource management. There were so many items I didn't understand. I wasn't sure if they were important, so I kept holding onto them, but I guess they were just fuel. I kept thinking they'd unlock something or be useful later, but nope. Also, there were times when I'd go so long without encountering anything new, and the background started repeating that I seriously wondered if the game had bugged out or if I was stuck in a loop. While I really like the color palette in this one, I think the gameplay and the world in the first game were way more interesting. My total playtime today was 7 hours. Day 5. Since I was almost done with the mini backlog of 5 games, I scrolled through my Steam library once again and chose 10 more. After the frustration from yesterday's game, I picked something that seemed cute and didn't require much brain. I also wanted something quick, around 2 to 3 hours, so I could start a longer game after. So I launched Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I really enjoyed this one. It just looks like a simple game with cute talking veggies, but things get wild pretty quickly. You play as a tiny turnip who casually commits tax evasion and spends the rest of the game tearing up documents while helping other vegetables with very questionable tasks. The contrast between the cute art style and the chaotic plot is amazing. I laughed out loud a few times, which rarely happens with games that try to be funny. There are many fetch quests, but they literally take 2 minutes and never overstay their welcome. The writing is full of jokes, internet references, and weird characters that somehow all just work together. I didn't love the puzzles, and sometimes the movement felt a bit stiff, but honestly the charm of Turnip Boy and the dialogue made up for it. I ended up wanting to collect everything just for the satisfaction. Ripping up tax document feels way more fun than it should. The game just has this unhinged yet wholesome energy. They even added a free DLC called Limitless Line, which is a roguelike dungeon crawler on a train. It was a complete surprise, but such a fun addition. The end credits literally include a title called Meme Chef, and the song that was playing was so good. You can really feel how much effort and love went into the whole game, and I love that so much. I ended up enjoying it so much that I went back after rolling the credits to 100% the achievements. My total playtime was 4 hours. After that, I jumped into Twin Mirror, a game I'd been wanting to play since launch, but kept putting off because of bad reviews. I played 2 hours of it before calling it a day. Day 6. I grabbed many snacks and dove back into Twin Mirror, knowing it had a lot of cinematics. It was the perfect cozy Sunday. I'm such a sucker for the small towns that Dontnod creates. I love meeting new characters, slowly taking in the details of every diner and cafe. Their ability to build atmosphere never disappoints. I also appreciate how they're trying new things with their games instead of sticking to the Life is Strange formula, though I'd also be happy if they kept making those forever. That said, this felt like their weakest game. I knew it wasn't very well received, but I thought I would be maybe the exception. People said the same thing about Tell Me Why, and I ended up loving that one, so I had hope. Unfortunately, Twin Mirror felt rushed. The characters didn't have any depth, and I really didn't enjoy the Mind Palace mechanic. It reminded me of that one memory scene of Max from Life is Strange that didn't really work for me either, and here it's a full-on core feature. The twist didn't hit, the ending felt off, and I never once felt like I was solving a mystery. Still, I wasn't bored at all. The atmosphere kept me going, and there was something comforting about the tone. For fans of Dontnod, there are still little moments and details you'll probably enjoy, but story-wise, this is definitely their weakest so far. My total playtime for today was 8 hours, the longest game I've played so far in this challenge. Day 7. After playing half the day yesterday, today I wanted to make time for my other hobbies, so I chose a game I thought that would be fairly short called Milky Way Prince: The Vampire Star. It's a visual novel that explores an intense and unhealthy relationship and mental illnesses. It's so uncomfortable to talk about other people's work in a negative way, but well, here we go. I think this is a very overdone visual novel style, and it didn't feel like the game had anything new to say. It also felt unnecessarily long. Scenes that should take 1 second took 10, and not in an atmospheric way, just stretched out. It felt like they maybe wanted to hit a certain playtime so people wouldn't refund it after finishing, and instead of adding new content, they just made everything slower, which is a shame for people who don't won't refund short games because we're also stuck sitting through it. My total playtime today was 2.5 hours, and I would have definitely liked the game a little bit more if it was around an hour and a half. Day 8. Okay, today I got some really good news. So I picked the most dreadful looking game in my mini backlog to celebrate. Sounds like the opposite of what I should be doing, but I figured since I was so happy, nothing could ruin my mood. So I went with the most unattractive game I had. I mean, the game definitely looks very cool, it's just not the kind of game I usually go for. I'm talking about Minit. This game is all black and white and I love color, so I knew from the start it wouldn't be my thing, but I still wanted to give it a shot. And it was actually better than I expected. I genuinely had a lot of fun for about 5 minutes, so like 5 loops, but the rest of the time I just felt kind of dumb. I was completely lost at times, just wandering around aimlessly, which got boring. Plus, because of the game's visual style, it can be really easy to miss important stuff. According to How Long to Beat, this game takes around 1.5 hours, but my playthrough today was 3.5 hours. Day 9. Today was the busiest day I've had so far during this challenge. I barely even had time to eat. I really thought I would fail the challenge today, but somehow I managed to sit down and start playing a Mortician's Tale at 9:50 p.m. You can probably tell from the name what the game's about. It could have been a much better game if the dialogue was stronger. I was expecting something way deeper and more thought-provoking, especially with a topic like this, but it just felt kind of hollow. My playtime today was only an hour, but I was so happy to still see a game's credit screen even on a day like this. I think I'm starting to learn how to make time for my favorite hobby thanks to this video. Day 10. Another really busy day. I had to use my brain at maximum power the whole day and felt completely mentally drained. When I finally sat down and checked my emails at night, I saw I had received a game key for a short game called Little Wings Deliveries. The developer described it as a short hike-like, which sounded perfect for ending such a tiring day. And yeah, like they said, it did remind me of a short hike. You play as a bird again, going on a small adventure. It was a bit janky at times and even made me a little dizzy, but overall it was a cute and short game. Day 11. Today I woke up in a great mood, put on some music and danced while making coffee. Then I went to choose my game and quickly decided on the Artful Escape. It's another game I bought on launch 4 years ago that's been collecting dust. It's a game about a young musician and filled with vibrant colors, so it felt fitting for my mood. After playing for 2 hours, I went out to meet a friend, and when I got home that night, I completely forgot I hadn't finished the day's game. Since I always finish games in one sitting, my brain just assumed I was done. But at 10:30, when I sat down to write the script, I realized I wasn't actually finished. If I kept going with the Artful Escape, there was a high chance I wouldn't be done before midnight, and I also really didn't want to rush and ruin the game for myself. So in a bit of a panic, I picked the shortest game left on my mini backlog, Sheepy, a short adventure, which felt like the love child of Celeste and Hollow Knight, which are both obviously masterpieces. The soundtrack made my jaw drop, especially A Journey's Pace. It's free and lasts about an hour, but with the collectibles, I think it could give you a really fun 2 hours of game time. There was a sequence that honestly put the biggest smile on my face. It felt really euphoric. If you played the game, I think you definitely know which part I'm talking about. Definitely looking forward to more games from this developer. My total playtime for Sheepy was an hour and 3.5 hours overall for the day. Day 12. The plan today was to wake up, finish the Artful Escape, read a bit, and then start a longer game so I could finish it tomorrow. But my husband was like, let's go on an adventure. So we just got in the car and drove randomly for 2 hours without checking the map and ended up in a cute village. When we came back home, I finished the Artful Escape and it was just okay. I expected it to be perfect. The Artful Escape starts off in the most stunning, cozy looking small town I've ever seen called Calypso. I thought that's where the whole game would take place, but it soon takes you on a literal psychedelic trip. It felt like the Disneyland Electrical Sky Parade show at times, which is one of the highest compliments I can give for a game like this. The visuals were amazing, one incredible environment after the other, but honestly, I feel like that's almost all the game's charm. We're a musician, but I didn't really enjoy the rhythm game part. There are lots of dialogue choices, but none of them really matter. Yes, the music was great, but it gave me a headache after 20 minutes. Everything felt a bit too extravagant. It literally felt like I was on drugs almost all throughout the game. I would have been happier with a cozy, artsy music game set in this small town. I mean, I really liked it, but it feels like it could have been the perfect game for me and just took the wrong turn. The game took me 5 hours to complete, but since I played half of it yesterday, today I only played 2.5 hours. Day 13. Okay, so looking back on the past almost 2 weeks, most of the games I played were average, and since starting this challenge, finishing 12 games I've been excited to play, I still haven't found a game I've fallen in love with. So in the hopes of playing the perfect game that will deeply move me, I chose one that everyone says is very similar to my favorite game of all time. I launched Norco. I was hesitant to play a fully text-based game during this challenge since I have to finish it in the same day, and I often prefer to savor these types of games, but I also felt desperate to find a new favorite game. I feel like I can make a whole video just talking about this game. Almost all the reviews I read of Norco talk about how if you love Disco Elysium, you'd probably love this too, and honestly, even just reading random quotes from Disco Elysium is enough to tear me up and give me goosebumps, so I was excited to see if Norco would fill the aching gap Disco Elysium left in me. While I do see where the comparisons come from, I think the two games have completely different tones. Disco Elysium gives me hope. Even when everything is falling apart, it has this weird warmth to it. Norco felt darker and heavier. It's less about finding connection and more about grief, memory, and returning to something that no longer fits. That said, I loved it. The setting is incredibly rich, a southern sci-fi landscape full of industrial decay, religious imagery, and surreal moments that somehow all work together. It has this deep, swampy atmosphere that wraps around you. Visually and emotionally, it sticks. And the writing, when it hits, it really hits. I think what makes a narrative game great is how it gets you to care about the characters, and I ended up caring a lot about people I never even expected to like. Norco even has a party system like in RPG games, which isn't a mechanic we see a lot in point-and-click adventure games. The addition of it here really helped those connections with the characters grow. Is Norco a new favorite of mine? No, because there were moments that felt like a bit of a reach and some of the writing didn't always speak to me, but it's definitely an experience I'll remember. One that really left its mark on me. And yeah, I feel like I could just keep going, so I'll stop here. I'll just say this. While Norco didn't replace Disco Elysium in my heart, it echoed in a similar place. Day 14. I honestly had no idea what I wanted to play today, so I just closed my eyes and chose. And I got Everything. I'm honestly shocked I didn't love this game. So Everything is a philosophical game. It's like an interactive experience where you can become everything. I mean, not quite everything, but you can become many things. I think the biggest reason why I didn't love it is that everything, of course, includes arachnids, and it felt like a jump scare when I accidentally became one or got small enough to see them. I was expecting it to be a euphoric experience, and it wasn't. My total playtime was 2.5 hours. Day 15. Started playing a puzzle game called The Almost Gone and quickly realized today isn't my puzzle day because my brain was struggling. I was also feeling kind of down today in general, so I wasn't honestly in the mood to play anything at all, but thanks to the video I kept playing and my mood actually improved. So The Almost Gone is a really clean looking puzzle game, and what attracted me to the game was definitely its aesthetics. I really love how it looks and how the game works in these small rooms. I also like the storytelling, though I thought some of the puzzles were absurd, especially in chapter 4. I had to cheat and check the solutions for a few, which kind of ruins the fun in a puzzle game. My total playtime was 3.5 hours. Day 16. I was filming and editing my weekly YouTube video today, and I usually just deep focus until I'm done with the video, so I almost didn't have time to play anything. All the games on my mini backlog were over 3 to 4 hours according to how long to beat, so I had a quick search through my library and downloaded Frog Detective 1, The Haunted Island. It's a cozy game where, the title says it all, where you're a frog detective. Since it's such a short game, there is not much to say except it was cute and only an hour to finish. Felt like a short, feel-good movie. Day 17. I was still busy editing the video, so I downloaded a super short game I saw a friend play. I don't know how she came across it because I couldn't even find a video of it on YouTube. It's called Rainy Day. So this is a cute obstacle avoiding game where you're just trying to get home without getting drenched in the rain. You have to dodge cars and bikes that splash water on you as they pass. It's free on Steam and only takes about 30 minutes to finish, and it was really nice. Day 18. Something I was afraid might happened today. I started playing Evan's Remains, and just as I was about to finish it, I encountered a game-breaking bug and lost my save file before I could roll the credits on it. I was fairly enjoying this game, the puzzles felt balanced most of the time, and the story was intriguing. But just as I reached Zone 7, almost about to complete the game, I would say I was 85% in, the power went out. When I turned my PC back on, I got an error trying to launch the game. I restarted my PC, verified the game files, but nothing worked. When I googled the error, I saw a few people reporting the same issue back in 2020, triggered the same way. They'd found a fix, which was to delete the save file manually and start over. The developer had even responded saying he would look into it. Sadly, 5 years later, it still hasn't been fixed, and I lost 3 hours of progress. I had to restart the game, which went much faster since I knew the puzzles and skipped all the dialogue, but it still felt like a chore. In short, it was a good game that turned into a frustrating experience because of a game-breaking bug. My total playtime was 5 hours. Day 19. On day 19, I restarted playing If Found, a game I originally started in 2020, its release year, but never played further than the first chapter because I had this really toxic habit of procrastinating things I knew I would love until the perfect time arrives. I try really hard not to do that anymore, so I went for this game I was sure I would love, and I did. This is a hand-drawn visual novel and it follows Cassio, a young trans woman who returns to her childhood home in rural Ireland during the early 90s. The story is told through the pages of Cassio's diary, and the gameplay revolves around erasing. You literally wipe away memories, people, and even entire scenes to move the story forward. If you love found family and graphic novels, definitely play this. It's more of an interactive novel, and there are bonus scenes after you roll the credits where you can literally make your own journal. Of course, as expected from any Annapurna game, it was highly emotional and gave me multiple goosebumps. I also love the fact it's set in Ireland and included many Irish words and their meanings. My playtime today was 4 hours. Day 20. This was a Sunday, and I guess my track record so far shows that on Sundays I just get in this narrative game mood. Like, I just want a completely story-focused game. So in search of that, I started playing Ghost on the Shore. This is a beautifully made walking sim, and I think it's really underrated for what it is. If you loved Firewatch and have been craving a game like this might really scratch that itch. Since in this one you're also talking to a companion and making dialogue choices all throughout the game. There are multiple endings, good storytelling, lots of beautiful scenery, an island that you want to keep exploring. I think it really deserves more love. My total playtime was 4 hours. Day 21. Today felt like a little preview of the days ahead. It was really busy and chaotic, so I decided to play the second Frog Detective game. These games are perfect for this challenge because they're like that one pizza you keep in the freezer for a day you know you won't have the energy to cook. They take zero brain power, they're light and short. That said, I found the second game weaker than the first. Every time I picked up an item, the notebook would slowly open and slowly update, and it honestly drove me a bit crazy. It was especially rough during the quest where you have to find 5 pies. Each pie took me 3 seconds to find, but then I had to wait through 10 seconds of notebook animation. I was so bored, and I feel bad saying that because it's such a cute game and it really saved the day for this challenge. Day 22. Okay, so today I was out all day, so I just took my Switch with me and replayed one of my comfort cozy games, which is Unpacking. I haven't been using my Switch for probably more than a year, and I really wanted to replay this for a while and pay more attention to the underlying story, and it was such a sweet experience handheld. I played 2 hours while I was out and the rest when I came back home in the evening, and my playtime was 4 hours. Day 23. These few days are the days I was dreading the most for this challenge because I'm out almost all day. Like today I was gone from 8 am to 8 pm. I've come so far without skipping a day and I really didn't want to fail now. Not gonna lie though, this challenge has started to annoy me a bit and I felt myself wanting to rush through the games just to be done with them, which is definitely lowering my enjoyment of them. So today I replayed another one of my favorite games, Florence, this time on my phone. This game is literally on every platform and I think it's the first actual game I've played on my phone if we exclude mobile games. It took me under an hour to complete and it's just so good. It felt like a little cure to me starting to get gaming burnout from this challenge, but tomorrow is also going to be as busy, so I guess I'll be taking my Switch with me again. Day 24. The whole point of me starting this challenge was to play new games from my backlog and discover some gems that were hiding in plain sight. But today I, again, ended up not having the mental capacity for anything new. In the past few days it started feeling like I'm doing this challenge just for the sake of doing it. Anyway, I replayed another one of my favorites, Sayonara Wild Hearts. This game is a masterpiece. Please try it for yourself, it's literally an experience. I think I could replay this every few months without ever getting bored. It's also a really short game, so today's playtime was 2 hours. The goal is to finish a new game tomorrow. Day 25. I've started a longer game a week ago and I've been playing it whenever I found the time. I honestly didn't even know if I could finish it this month, but today I did. Card Shark first caught my eye with its art style, and before playing it, I had no knowledge of cards. I didn't even know what a spade or a club was, or which card was the most powerful. This game actually taught me some useful stuff. It explains everything, and yes, it can definitely feel a bit complex at times, but once you practice a little, your hand gets used to the tricks and you start understanding the logic behind them. Story-wise, I didn't really have any expectations, so I was pleasantly surprised. There were many moments that made me laugh out loud, and of course, the best part of the game, the art style is spectacular. I loved traveling around France as well as some other European countries. Everything looked like a beautiful painting. My total playtime for the game was 10 hours total, but today I played around 4 hours to finish it. This is the longest game I've completed during this challenge and it feels really good after so many replays the past few days. Day 26. I failed. No, I'm just kidding. But if I was going to fail, today would be the day for it. So today was the trickiest day of the whole challenge because I had one of my best friend's bachelorette party and it started early in the day with a picnic followed by dinner and some dancing and ended up with a sleepover. So if I wanted to play something, it had to be before I went to sleep. To my luck, I saw a really cute looking game on itch.io called Co-Open. So in this one, one you play as a kid buying groceries on their own for the first time. Reading this description, I went in expecting a small game, but there was a lot more to explore than I thought. You can select your items, check out and end the game, or you can keep exploring and find secrets. It was really sweet and fun. I love finding hidden gems like this. My playtime was around an hour. Day 27. Since we had a sleepover, we also spent all day together today, so when I came back home, I only had a few hours to take a hot shower, eat, and play today's game before I went to sleep. I really had no idea what to play though. I wasted a lot of time looking around trying to choose. Combined with my tiredness, analysis paralysis was hitting me hard. My mini backlog failed me because all the games left in it were around 3 to 4 hours and I just didn't have that time, so of course in the end I ended up running back to one of my favorites, A New Life. It's only around 30 minutes, so I'm not going to say anything about the game except that it's so beautiful and bittersweet. Day 28. And the countdown begins. Only 3 more days. There was a game I started playing 3 years ago. I played halfway and dropped it since I didn't enjoy it. There was nothing really memorable about the game, but for some reason it got stuck in my brain, as I guess unfinished things often do. If I had completed it, I probably wouldn't even remember its name, but I still remembered the plot and everything. So I decided to finish it and be done with it. It's called Crowns and Pawns: Kingdom of Deceit. It's a point-and-click adventure game set in modern-day Europe. As I said, I didn't enjoy it a lot, but at least it won't occupy my brain anymore. It's not a bad game, by the way, just a really average one. The whole game takes around 5 hours, but today I only played about 2 to finish it. Day 29. Today I played Air: Memories of Old. I remember playing this game briefly for like 20 minutes many years ago, but I didn't understand what to do or what the purpose was, so I stopped. I decided to give it another chance now that I played many games of this genre. I thought maybe I had misunderstood the game, but nope. It was still as boring and felt really meaningless. The world felt really empty. Everything I would expect from an exploration game just wasn't there. My playtime today was 4 hours. Day 30. And we are on the final day. For the last day, I wanted to revisit a game I played 6-7 years ago called Old Man's Journey. When I played it on PC, I remember really finding it cute, but it didn't really resonate with me. But lately, I've been seeing this game recommended often on social media and being highly praised, which made me curious. So for my replay, I decided to play it on my iPad, and honestly, it added more flavor to the game. My initial thoughts about the game are still the same, but I guess I enjoyed it slightly more on the iPad. My playtime was 2 hours, and wow, that was it. 30 games in 30 days. I feel like I was supposed to come out of this challenge with some big takeaway or eye-opening lesson, but honestly, I'm just really happy I played a bunch of new games. Now I have around 25 new games, not counting the replays that I can recommend or not recommend to friends or talk about in my YouTube videos. Did it cure my gaming burnout? Not really, but did it make it worse? Also no. At some point it did get frustrating, especially when I had busy days, but I know for a fact that if I didn't have this challenge to keep me going, I would have just come home and done nothing on those days. Playing a game feels way better than mindlessly scrolling. I know it sounds funny calling games an efficient use of time, since many people think the opposite, but honestly they are. They teach you things, they make you think, give you stories and imagination. I still want to keep clearing my backlog, but now I want to focus on longer games that intimidate me, like Death Stranding or the Persona games. I'm really glad I gave the short indie ones the attention they deserved first.